Hermes Agent ships with about 70 skills. The hub has thousands more. Almost none of them will do anything meaningful for your business, but these 20 will. Number 9 found me 50 companies, their names, websites, what they sell. I used to pay a VA for this. I typed one command and went to make coffee. Number 20 is already on your machine. And number 1 makes this list keep growing after you close the video, starting at 20. Every skill on this list ships with Hermes. 9 of them are already installed on your machine right now. The other 11 are one command each from the official repo. You're not downloading anything sketchy, and there's no shopping list at the end of this video. Number 20, plan. Nothing to download. This one's already sitting there. It's already installed and almost nobody uses it. You ask for something, it builds the wrong thing, and 20 minutes are gone. Plan makes it write the plan to a markdown file and then stop. No execution. You read it, you fix the assumptions that it got wrong, and then tell it to go. A wrong build you don't catch until it's finished costs you the build twice, once to make it and once to redo it. And a plan file costs 30 seconds. Anything you expect to take more than 5 minutes to get done gets a plan first. That one habit will remove most of wasted runs. Number 19 is the one I run before anything leaves the building. Number 19, Humanizer. Nothing to download, this one's already sitting there as well. Humanizer takes content that smells like AI and turns it into something that feels like a human wrote it. Here's a paragraph that ChatGPT generated for me on how to write a cold email. You can see that it really is obviously AI. After running the Humanizer, you'll see that the above is obviously something that a machine wrote, and the final rewrite is something that is a lot closer to what a real human being would write. Now, number 18 kills a folder I used to pay someone to type up. 18 is OCR and documents. Scanned invoices, signed contracts, a photo of a receipt. For many agents, that's a dead end. This one pulls text out of PDFs and scans using Python, and it handles the ugly ones too. Every scanned document in that folder is currently only readable by a human being paid to read it. Your paper backlog is now queryable. That's usually the first automation that an operator can put a number on. Now, number 17 is the one that connects it to everything you already work in, and this is the one I'm going to slow down for. Number 17, Google Workspace. Now, you'll need to set up custom auth using Google Cloud Console to get this to work. I'll leave a link in the description to my school community where you can find a comprehensive tutorial on how to set this up. Now, here's me asking Hermes to pull a lot of emails from my Gmail, analyze the content of those emails, and save all of that output to a Google Sheet. I've got Google Docs, Google Drive, Gmail, everything connected to my Hermes agent through this skill. And it'll do all of that without me having to lift a finger. Now, the Google Workspace skill is powered by the GWS CLI, which lets you interact with your entire Google account through the terminal or via an agent. Now, this makes it so much easier because Google applications are usually quite a pain to set up otherwise for any automation flows. This gives it truly agentic access. And if you're using Google Workspace to run your business, like most people do, this is a game changer because you'll get Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, Sheets, everything in that one skill. So that one connection that drafts your replies can build the client report, chase the unpaid invoice, or keep a live sheet of every proposal you've sent. This is just the tip of it. Install this one even if you ignore the other 19. Now, number 16 is where it stops sounding like a generic AI and starts sounding like you. If your business already has leads, clients, tasks, or follow-ups falling through the cracks, don't start by buying another AI tool. Start by mapping the bottleneck. I work with business owners to build AI systems around the highest leverage workflow first. If that's what you need, book a consulting call below. And if you're still in learning mode and want the templates, workflows, and breakdowns behind these videos, number 16, school community is linked below as well. Built into Hermes. Here's my Obsidian Vault and my second brain. This is almost everything there is to know about my business, my processes, and all the client work that I've done. You can give access to this vault to your Hermes agent. And then using the Obsidian skill, it can read, create, and edit notes in this vault. This matters because an agent with no knowledge of your business writes generic output and gives you generic advice. but once you point it at a vault of your second brain and your business, the output stops being slop and actually becomes something actionable and based on your real experiences. I've done a whole video on setting up a second brain for Hermes, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So generic output would be output that you have to rewrite, and rewriting is the hidden tax on every automation that doesn't know your business. Grounding beats prompting. A mediocre prompt over your real material beats a clever prompt over nothing. Now 15 and 14 are the two I use for research and for keeping everything organized. Number 15, YouTube content. This one turns YouTube transcripts into summaries, threads, and blog posts. I use it for competitor research. Point it at the 10 videos your market is watching and get back what they actually teach in minutes. 10 competitor videos is 4 hours of your evening. This is 10 minutes, and you can do it every week instead of once a quarter. Any long video is now just a 2-minute read. That's the cheapest market research you'll ever run. Now number 14 is where all of it lands. Number 14, Notion. You will need a Notion account and a Notion API token. Now pages and database through the Notion API and the NTN CLI are now accessible to your Hermes agent. This means that the agent reads from and writes into the systems your people already open, not into a folder nobody checks. And automation writing into a folder nobody opens has a return of 0. So the biggest leverage you can give your AI agent is giving it access to where your team already is, whether that's Obsidian or whether that's Notion. Now everything up to here does something when you ask it. Number 13 is what makes it happen when you're not there, and it's the one most people are missing. Number 13 is watchers. This is not installed by default. You can run this command in your terminal to install it. Now here's the distinction nobody makes. A skill is a recipe, and a watcher is what rings the bell. 20 skills and no triggers is 20 things you still have to remember to ask for. Now you can point watchers at anywhere on the internet, any JSON endpoint. Every time something in that endpoint changes, watchers will pick it up, make note of it, and only let you know if something meaningful has changed. And now this is different from a typical cron job that you can set up with Hermes. With cron jobs, it's going to give you an output every single time. With watchers, it's going to deduplicate and then provide you an update so you don't see the same thing twice. Now anything with a JSON endpoint is a trigger. Competitor pricing, a job board, a supplier stock page, your own app's health check, a client status page. You're not building alerts anymore, you're building a nervous system. So skills without triggers are just a toolbox, and watchers are what can turn the toolbox into an employee. Remember, you can string skills together, so you can have a system where if a watcher tells you that your competitor has updated their prices, you can automatically update your prices as well. Now 12, 11, and 10 are how it reaches the outside world. Pages, phones, and inboxes. Number 12, scrappling. Install it with this command. This scrapes sites with stealth browsing and Cloudflare bypass. Plenty of the pages you need are behind a bot check, and a normal agent is going to hit a wall. I'll be straight with you. You'll need to use this one with judgment. Check what you're allowed to pull before you point it at somebody's website, because capability isn't permission. The pages behind a bot check are usually the ones worth looking at. Pricing, listings, availability. Without this, your agent's research quietly stops at whatever was easy to reach, and you don't get told. Use it for public data you're entitled to. It's a lockpick, not a license. Now number 11 gives it a phone number. Number 11, telephone. Not installed by default, so you'll need to install it with this command. You will need a Twilio account and a verified number for this to work, and if you wanted to place outbound calls, you'll also need an account with Bland.ai or Vappy. Now this provisions a Twilio number and lets the agent, Hermes, send SMS, MMS, and even place outbound calls. You can also listen for incoming SMS, reminders, confirmations, missed call text backs. For a service business, the text back alone usually pays for itself in a week. Now I can't show you a demo of this one running because getting a number verified for automated calling takes real paperwork and real waiting. days or sometimes even longer. The good news is that if you're an established business, setting up Twilio is fairly straightforward if all of your documentation is in place. Installing the skill is going to then take less than a minute. Everything else on this list you can have running this afternoon. Now, number 10 stops your agent from living in just your inbox. Number 10, agent mail. This gives your Hermes agent its own email address and inbox. It can send and receive from an address that isn't yours. This sounds small until you realize that the alternative is every automated message and every reply landing in the inbox you're trying to clear. This way, your agent can sign up for services using its own email address. It can use its own email address to contact you or people on your behalf. Agent Mail is free to set up. They have a generous free tier, and if you scale up, the pricing is really reasonable as well. Now, there's a quick thing before number 9. 9 is the one that went and researched 50 companies for me on its own, and it's the one that changed how I get clients. Now, if this has been useful so far, subscribe. Number 9, Parallel CLI, a super-powered research agent. You will require a Parallel AI account. They have a very generous free trial. They give you $80 of free credits as of this recording. Here are 50 companies that I had my Hermes agent research for me, complete with the name, website, headquarters, offerings, everything. All I had to do was give it the name of one company that I'd already worked with and ask it to find me similar companies all over the country. Now, this kind of research used to take hours, if not weeks. I'd have to make a spreadsheet myself, dig into each company, find all of that information separately, and compile it. Or I had to pay a VA to do this. Now, even if I were to ask ChatGPT or Claude Code to do this research for me, and I tried this a couple of times, the level of output that it gave me was just not that satisfactory, because it usually ended up taking shortcuts. So what Parallel gives you access to is agent native web search, deep research, and enrichment, which is the most important part. You hand it a thin list and it hands back a thick one. Now, it may get things wrong. On 50 companies, you might get a handful of bad matches. But on the whole, for something that I can just set and forget, this is a game changer, especially if you're doing outreach and finding leads. So whether you're building prospect lists, you're tracking competitors, comparing suppliers, doing due diligence, anything where the work is go find out about these 40 things is now just one command. And if you do any outbound at all, this is your enrichment step. And it costs you a skill and a small subscription instead of the hundreds of dollars that you would otherwise shell out for services like Clay. Now, number 8 is the one that made me stop treating Hermes Agent as a toy. Number 8, Excel Author. This skill builds Excel workbooks headless through a Python library, and it has a family around it. 3 statement models: DCF, COMS, LBO, merger, accretion, dilution. Essentially, this is a financial analyst and an Excel expert bundled into one. The whole idea is that the output from this can be audited and read by somebody else. Now, 7, 6, 5, and 4 are quick, and every one of them is something that I use weekly. Number 7, PPTX Author. This one is not built in. You will have to install it manually. Now, this one builds PowerPoint decks headless with Python PPTX. Feed it the numbers from the workbook you just watched, and the client deck writes itself. A client deck is most of a working day, and it's the day between the call and the proposal landing. You close that gap, and you're quoting while they still remember the conversation. So chain number 8 into number 7, model, and then deck in one run. Now, number 6 might be boring, but it's the one that stops you from getting burned. Number 6, 1Password. Not built in by default. One command to install it. Now, you will need a 1Password account and the 1Password CLI for this to work. This skill sets up the 1Password CLI, so secrets get injected at runtime instead of pasted into a file. The moment you give an agent your keys in plain text, every other skill on your machine can read them. A leaked key isn't just a bad afternoon, it's your client's data on your account, and you're the one who has to make that call. 10 minutes now against a conversation you never want to have. So never paste a live key into a config file. inject it using something like this. This takes 10 minutes once and saves hours of headaches and compliance later. Now 5 and 4 are the two that I use to make video. Number 5, hyperframes. Not built in, but free to install. Hyperframe creates and renders MP4 videos out of HTML compositions. Essentially, it breaks down a video into HTML. All of your motion graphics, all of your cuts, all of your overlays are all done through HTML. Now, because it's HTML, the agent can do it for you. Hyperframes then encodes that HTML into MP4. I've used hyperframes to essentially replace my video editor, Video Orchestrator, at number 4. This one plans and runs multi-agent video production pipelines. Multiple agents working stages of the same video in parallel on a board that you can monitor. Now, one agent means your video ships at the speed of the slowest stage. Parallel stages is the difference between one video a week and 3. So one agent does a task and a board of them does a production line. This skill is meant to chain with all of these other skills. The Kanban skill is just for planning, and the execution then fans out to any of these other skills. Now, number 3 is the most powerful thing on this list and the one I tell you to be careful with. Computer use. I'm going to ask Hermes to open up Notion, go to the second brain page that I have built, and scroll halfway down. Now my hands are off the keyboard. Hermes is going to do everything by itself. Now these are for jobs that have no API and no integration. These are the kinds of jobs that you were still doing by hand. Now this is the one that I keep switched off unless I'm watching it, because an agent with your mouse and keyboard has everything your logged in browser has. So the right posture isn't don't use it, it's strict permissions, deny rules, a separate profile, and supervision on anything irreversible. Anyone showing you this with permissions wide open is showing you a demo, not a system. Everything that's happening on screen right now is happening automatically. I'm not doing any of it. Now, number 2 is the one that makes everything above it get better on its own. Now, number 2, Darwinian Evolver. This is not on by default, so you'll have to install it with this command. This skill evolves prompts, regex, SQL, and code using Imbue's evolution loop. It tries variations, measures them, keeps what scores better, and repeats until it stops improving. That's the honest version of a promise you'll see made a lot. It isn't magic self-improvement, it's a measured loop on one specific artifact, which is better because you can see the score. So the prompt sitting at the center of your business gets tweaked by feel and never actually measured. But a prompt that's 10% better runs on every job you do from now on. Anything you can score, you can evolve. Start with the prompt you rewrite most often. And now for the most powerful skill of them all, the simplest but the most meta that makes Hermes Hermes, the built-in skill authoring skill. Now, every skill that we have spoken about so far is an independent piece. It fits somewhere into your business, but you have to define the process. What this skill does is it allows you to chain all of these skills into one large process. So what it allows you to do is to chain all of these and any other skill and process that you can imagine into a large super skill that can take anything from point A and go to point B. Any business process, even if nobody has made a skill for it, but it's something that's super proprietary to you, you build a skill for it, and Hermes can do it on repeat, on autopilot. This is the skill that compounds. Every workflow you do twice becomes a skill, and you don't write it. You just need to review it, which is why the other 19 are a starting point and not a list.